Hey everyone, it is 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and that's what I be but here with you. DJ Stutzy with Little Hearts Academy USA and Imperfect Heroes podcast. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about the successful parent. And so what I did is I went back, because it's episode 100. Can you believe it? I know. It's so exciting. Anyway, so I went back and chose five of the answers that I've got, because I ask all my guests the same question. How would you describe a successful parent? And it's important because we know that nobody's perfect, right? And if you're a believer, even Mary and Joseph were human. They were mortal, and I'm sure they had their moments. You see that list of boys that were in that family, I'm sure they had their days. So what does that mean for us? Because we want to be there. And so many people really put themselves into such stressful situations looking for perfection in a place where it just doesn't exist. And that's called the human experience. There's no perfection there. So do you just give up and do, this is just me. This is who I am. And I guess you could do that. Or are you constantly looking for ways to improve, but without having all the judgment and oh, I did a bad job, or oh, I did this wrong. Save that for when your kids grow older and the whole family's like, oh, where did I go wrong? No. We don't want you to do it then either. But you have a chance to look at the day and say, oh, I didn't handle this well, right? And so why didn't I? What was going on that made it hard for me to manage? And was I hungry? Was I tired? Am I getting the rest I need? Did I have a bad day at work? Am I having a little bit of a moment with my spouse? Whatever it is, start looking at it and say, okay, so this is probably what caused it. And I was on edge. So what can I do to improve next time? Maybe make sure that I am getting the sleep I need. And so here's the deal from one of my sleep episodes. You need 6 hours of solid sleep in a row, at least 4 days a week. So you're going to want to make sure that you're checking it and you're getting to bed on time and trying to make some strategies with maybe your spouse or a family member or a really good friend if you need someone to help you to get that at least, when you can. But you're sitting and you're looking at, okay, what might have caused this? And why did I handle it that way? And what can I do to make things better? Right. And so I have a whole thing on that. I just did a presentation at the International Family Matters Summit. I know that was pretty cool on being a strategic parent and quit sabotaging yourself. I have a freebie that's available on the website, www.littleheartsacademyusa.com. And it's being a strategic parent and not being a saboteur. So, you have some things that you can do that, but knowing that there are no perfect parents, knowing that we're not going to be able to reach that. You notice how some parents seem to be more successful than others. But even then, that can be a misnomer. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've seen families, and I know if you think about it, you're going to think of a family. Oh, they're the perfect family, right? And then something happens, and you realize, oh, their kid got in trouble too, right? Oh, this happened. Okay. So nobody's as perfect as they seem. I know growing up, everyone thought the Bennions, that's my maiden name, that we were this perfect family and we had such a great family. And at home, it was a very different situation. And so when my parents split up the first time, everyone was shocked. Everyone was like, what? No way. And so we don't want to compare ourselves to anyone else because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what's going on at home or with the finances or, with the kids. And so Give yourself a break. Don't compare yourself to others. And I know that's hard to do, but I have seen families with wonderful parents, wonderful support. You know, everybody's turning out great. And then there's that one kid, right? And so you see kids who come from great families that struggle with addictions or with an inability to manage their own emotional behaviors. Maybe there's some mental health that's going on issues. And so we're not here to judge. We're not to compare. But we just want to do as good a job as we can. I've also seen kids who have come, or adults, I guess, who have come out of horrible situations, just horrible family life. And they're amazing adults, right? So, you know, there's that thing called free will. And kids have a right to choose how they're going to react, how they're going to behave, what values you've taught them that they're actually going to take in with them. But our goal is to give them the best foundation that we can, right? And move forward. Well, so I'm not going to give you any of the answers that were in the podcast. It's a great podcast, and I love the answers that we got. But I thought I'd give you a couple more that are not there. And so I was going to tell you about Craig Parks. Now, Craig Parks, he is in episode 33, and he is so much fun. And he writes songs for fun and for kids. And my favorite of his songs is the No song. And if you want to hear about it or listen to it, go to episode 33 and you will hear it. But this is a song he wrote for his daughter when she learned the answer no. And everything was no. Anyone been there? Me, right? Several times. And so he just wrote this song about how she likes to play the piano and all these words and a volcano, and he mixed it all in. And so what happened was his daughter thought it was hysterical. And so when she would start getting that no kind of thing, he'd start singing the song. She'd start singing it with him, and then it would turn the whole situation around. Very adorable. I hope you'll be able to go back and listen to that episode. But here's what Craig Park said when I asked him that question about how would you describe a successful parent? And he said, are you honestly expressing your most loving self? And if you are just expressing your most loving self, then you're a successful parent. And that does not mean perfect, right? Because we're all going to make mistakes, all of us. It's not about that. I think you're a successful parent if you are consciously doing your best to create love in this world. And that's it. What a great answer, right? To create love in this world through our kids, showing them and being loving in our attitudes toward them. And if you go back to episode 33, you're just going to pick up on that. He's great. I really loved that episode. I love most of my episodes. So anyway, and then I went on to talk. Now this is in episode 27, and Christine Lee, Dr. Christine Lee, is a procrastination coach, and she helps people get over that procrastination hump. And she's amazing. And I actually have been not really a friend, an acquaintance, I guess. We've never met personally, but we have found each other through several different networking things, and we just keep running into each other online. And so I asked her to come and be on the show. And so when I asked her that question, she said, wow. So without prep, because I actually just threw it on her, she said, I would say a successful parent is one who understands that their role is a gift rather than a chore, and a role that can constantly bring rewards if you're open to them. So a successful parent, I guess, is an open-minded one. And I thought that was such an important um, sentence or phrase, that someone who realizes that their role as a parent is a gift and not a chore. And I know that it can feel that way when you're dealing with temper tantrums and arguing siblings and the mess that comes in the house sometimes, and having to be go, 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 on the go all the time. The reality is that you are going to spend way more time with your kids as an adult than you will with them just being little kids. And as time goes by, you're going to look back and just think, where did it go? Where did this time go? And it'll all seem so fast that it's gone. I know it doesn't feel like that when you're in the moment, right? But it does make a huge difference when you can look at that big picture and understand that every day, every moment that you have with that child is a gift, and you have the opportunity to teach them and engage them. And it's important to have boundaries. It's important to teach them your values. Yes, your values. And they may not jive with what society or what their education system or whatever is pushing on them. But you want to have that time and that connection with them as you're going on and teaching them that. So that was just one of my very favorites, is just that sentence that the successful parent is one who understands their role is a gift. Christine Lee, she's fantastic. Episode 27. And the last one that I wanted to talk with you about, or share with you, I guess is the word, is Dr. Stephen Crane. His is a little bit longer, not too long. But so Stephen Crane is in episode 93. And I just really appreciated him. So he has a book out. I can appreciate that. And it talks about his journey of going from a glass half full, no, a glass half empty to a glass half full kind of outlook on life, and how that journey looked as he decided to make that a part of his endeavor and to enrich his life and the life of those around them. So he said, maybe the best that you can do as a parent is to be present, to have a realistic expectation of what that role entails, that parenting role, and to be full of time, grace, and kindness. And it's kind of cheesy, but there's a saying that love is spelled Time. And so just being there for your children. And again, he has it, so he works from home. And so he talks about that. He understands that he has this flexibility in his job. And he said, I sometimes joke that I'm a glorified house husband because my wife has an awesome job, and that's allowed him to do the work that he does from home and be hyper present for his kids. And so he said that both he and his wife are very present with their kids. And he said that it's more than atypical for a father. And so I have a blessing. I'm home all the time. School calls, it's usually me. And, I've coached both of them baseball for 10 years growing up, and, had some awesome experiences there. And we've been blessed to be involved in foster care. That's another place for my heart. Um, oh, here we are. I lost my place. Which I think, so I'm actually planning on having him come back. And he says it's such a joy, and it's about time. Um, so children are everywhere in our world, and we need to be there for all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. And when you're there, just being there goes a long way, and the confidence that your children will take from that. And so, I know it's hard, especially when you're working. And so I have this rule of five, the 5 minutes. And I think that they can be the most important 5 minutes of the day. And this is it. When you first walk in the door, or you first walk into whatever, if you're picking them up from school or childcare, grandma's house, or if you come home and the other spouse has already picked them up or is home all day with the kids, whatever the situation is, when you walk in the door, those first 5 minutes are so important and so key. And so when you walk in, and now let me preface this with, if you need to sit in the car for a few minutes, right? Get yourself mentally, take a breath, listen to your favorite song on the radio, whatever it is. I don't care what kind of day you've had. You can do it for 5 minutes. And every day when you walk in, you're going to say, "Where are my babies?" Right? And "I missed you so much." If you've had a bad day at work, tell them, "I had such a sad day at work, and all I was wanting was to be with you because you guys make me happy. I am so glad that I'm here and that you're here." You give them hugs, and "I want to hear about your day," and you kiss your spouse because that gives your kids the security and comfort that mommy and daddy are okay. They gave each other a kiss. We're good, right? So you give them that security, and you listen to them, and you tickle them, and you cuddle them, and whatever it is that these kids want, you can give them 5 minutes, right? And then you're going to say, "I need to go up, change my clothes, and so I'm going to be gone for." Now, it may vary. If you've had a great day, maybe you just need 10 minutes, right? Maybe you need a half an hour. I don't know. But whatever it is, you can set a timer for however long, and you give it to the kids, right? And you say, "I need to go up and get ready, do a couple things. When the timer goes off, come and get me, and I'll come back down." So then you have that time that you've given to yourself to sit down, take a breath, change your clothes, get the dust of the day off, and be more ready. Even if you've got to run off to go to a soccer game or a football practice or, dance classes, whatever it is, um, you know, do it as quickly as you can with that. But just know that when you come down, then, "Oh, I've had a breath, and I can let my kids know that they are so important with me." Now, if you just do those first 5 minutes, right, you are going to find kids that when you walk in the door or you walk into the school or childcare or whatever, they will run to you because they are so excited to see you because they have learned that they are important to you and that you value them. So here's my deal. I don't think there's any one answer to what makes a successful parent. You may think that, "Oh, my child is a doctor, they're happily married, they've got 5 kids," I don't know, whatever standard it is that you have, and they'll blow it out of the water, right? Even if you have an adult child that is struggling with whatever problems, addiction or unemployment or mental health or whatever it is, I don't think it means you were a bad parent. We do know that there are some. I'm not going to lie, but the way your kids turn out isn't really what defines you as a good or a bad parent. It's, did you try your best? Did you always look for ways to connect? Were you always looking for new strategies that maybe you weren't aware of before? You know, how much time did you invest in this role? And that's going to be what helps you. The outcome, that the better parents, the better odds there are for your kids having successful adulthoods. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. And so, who was it? Now I can't remember who said this, but he said that one way you know you're a successful parent is when they're adults, if your kids will continue to be in touch with each other and will make special trips across the country to be there when someone's in need. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know. But I do love hearing all of the answers. And so as you listen to the podcast, at the end of every episode where there's a guest, and that's like 95% of the time, um, you're going to hear different answers of different thoughts. And then you can put that in your mind and say, how am I holding up with that? Do I agree with that? And so this week is our 100th episode. I hope you listen. I hope to break my download records with it and move forward. And I want to continue to encourage parents to help you feel good about what you're doing right. Understand when you're sabotaging yourself. Understand to just look and learn when things are messed up, because we all have days that are just, oh, I'm so glad it's over, right? But I want to continue to help bringing information and helping parents to understand the things that they can do to maybe do one more thing better today. And so listen to the podcast. There's 5 different answers, completely different answers on the podcast. And so it's episode 100, imperfectheroespodcast.com. And so until next week, let's find joy in parenting. See you later, guys.